our next amazing speaker. This is Dr. Marlene Siegel. When I first met Dr. Marlene, I had an instant connection with her, and you're going to feel that too when you hear her speak. She is the real thing. She has an amazing spirit, and her spirit reminds me a lot of Noelle's, and you're going to see that here. She has been a pioneer in the field of integrative medicine, and she has been a successful entrepreneur for over 20 years. She's a respected author, an international lecturer, a researcher for integrative veterinary technologies, and she's a clinical practitioner still. Her boots are on the ground. She has developed online courses for both pet parents and veterinarians to help them learn how to integrate holistic lifestyles and therapies into their homes and their practices. Her topic for the summit is how an online course can elevate your income and your authority. So let's hear it for Dr. Marlene Siegel. Let's give her some love in the chat.
All right. Wow. I think we all just need to take a nice deep breath for a moment, because that was absolutely sensational. And what a great way to start the presentation off the whole weekend, because we really are our souls at this time more than any other time in the world is coming up and saying, hear me and listen to me, because we see you. We are all connected. So I resonated with that talk so deeply, as I'm doing a lot of spiritual work and mediumship work and really working to understand my soul purpose here, which thank goodness I've always been on and I've always listened to, and I'm so blessed to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing here. Let's see, new share. It's trying to get that little window off so it goes into full screen. See if it does that. No. I'm on my desktop. I am sharing. It won't let me go to that. All right, here we go. Play. All right. Finally got it. There you go. So what I'm going to talk to you all about today is taking your voice that your soul is empowering you to do, and taking that from one to one to one to many, because that's what you're here for. I was teaching in my veterinary practice. I was doing a mini course for each of my clients. Every time somebody would come in with a pet with a challenge, I would do a one-to-one consultation with them, teaching them what they needed to know to understand their pet's biology, what they were doing that they could improve so that the biology of the pet could work better, and how they could transform dis-ease. And then COVID hit. All of a sudden, we couldn't do one-to-ones anymore. And I thought, wow, what could I do differently? And what I did is I took my one-to-one presentation that I was doing with people, and I decided to do that in a recorded version. Well, then I wasn't restricted to 1 hour of my time. I thought, what else do I want to put in there that would be powerful and that would really give people everything that they needed to know? And I expanded it. I literally recorded a 3-hour course in one sitting. It just flowed out of me. It was like a download from higher consciousness, and one sitting did the whole thing. Then we, of course, cut it up and made it into a presentation. And then I did the same thing for veterinarians, because I had so many doctors when I was teaching on stage that would say, I don't understand. I'm using ozone and I'm not getting the results that you're getting, or I'm using hyperbaric oxygen, and the same story. And so I decided that what I was doing was so valuable that we needed to share it with our community. And that's what transforming vet medicine was all about. It was about, how do I take this message and get it out to more people? And it's so interesting, the talk that we just listened to, and how spiritual it was, and how our higher consciousness and all of the universe is really supporting us. I was invited to a workshop, and it was a speaking workshop. And I had not developed anything in my courses yet, but it was in the back of my mind thinking I should do that. But I was very, very shy, and I could not say my name in front of a group of 3 people. And then I'm put into this position where I was asked to speak at a conference, and I just knew I had to get out of my comfort zone. So I did. And a person in the audience happened to be part of a group that was called Speaking Empire. And he invited me to his summit that was coming up the following weekend. And of all the people, there was over 500 people there. I was selected for the hot seat. And the hot seat was all about how to take your vision and putting it into action. So that's where we named Transforming Vet Medicine. And we were able to develop both the pet parent course and the veterinary course. And then from there, of course, I had to start speaking. So all of the skills that I learned took me to onstage presentations. And my very first talk was, I was invited to speak at the Truth About Cancer. And this was a human organization that was doing phenomenal work in the cancer realms for humans. And they were getting ready to launch a series for veterinarians. And I was asked to be the keynote speaker in 2017 at their live presentation. There were 1,500 people live in the audience. It was live streamed to 192 countries and over 10 million people watching. So just imagine, I went from 1 year earlier not being able to say my name in front of 3 people to all of a sudden I'm doing a keynote presentation in front of 10 million people. And when the guy was miking me up, he said, "Oh, where have you spoken before?" And I went, "Oh, nowhere. This is my first talk, my first major talk." And I could hear him suck his breath in and he puts his head around my shoulder and looks up at me and said, "Are you okay?" I was so ready to go out there and share what I came to this earth school to do, that I was just ready to go. And that's what you guys are going to do. That's why you're here, is because you have this message inside of you, and you're going to get it out to the world, whether you do it in Noelle's beautiful demonstration or you do it through online courses. However you are spoken to get this out, this is what you're here for. And you want to listen to your soul. And as soon as you accept and say, "Yes, I'll raise my hand, I'll do it," everything will fall in place. It's absolutely miraculous. Einstein had a few wonderful sayings. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, I think we all get that. And yet, pet parents and veterinarians are doing the same kind of medicine that we've been taught for a long time, but we're seeing the highest rates of disease that we've ever seen. We're seeing the most complex, sickest animals we've ever seen. So obviously, insanity really is doing the same thing over and over because we're not getting better results. And then the second quote that I love of Einstein's was that we can't solve problems using the same mindset that created them. In other words, pretty obvious. If what we're doing isn't working, we need to do something better or different. And my motto is know better to do better. We know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. And I will tell you that the veterinary industry is the most compassionate, giving, and most well-intended industry of any that are out there. However, you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. So many of our loving veterinarian colleagues have only been taught allopathic Western medicine. They don't know that there's something else to do. I received a phone call this morning from a very sick bird, macaw, that I transferred to a critical care facility. And the doctor there said, "I don't have anything else I can do. I'm going to recommend euthanasia because we don't know what else to do for this bird. He's getting worse." So now he's had fluid therapy, but he's going to come back to me and I'm going to come up with some very creative things to try to get this bird better. I'm just not willing to say there's nothing we can do. Is he going to live forever? No, he's 41 years old, but can I help him feel better for a bit longer while his parents are getting ready for his transition? Because we're all going to transition. Everybody leaves the planet at some point. But can we do it with grace and with dignity? And can we know that we really have done the best that we can do? That's what our goal is. So if your veterinarian isn't familiar with some of the things I'm going to talk about, then make sure that you help educate them, give them some exposure, give them my links so that they can start learning, because we all want to do the best for our patients. When I started creating my online courses, I, number one, wanted to fill the first niche. And the first niche is education. You have to learn what to do differently in order to be open to seeing different results. So the first course I created was the Empowered Pet Parent course. It's a 3-hour course, literally designed to teach pet parents the biology of their pet's body, about diet, detoxification, mitochondrial health. And we also teach them about the right diagnostics, because they need to be empowered to go to their veterinarian who may not know this information and say, hi, I want you to start testing my pet for deficiencies. And what does that look like? But now they have a name of a test that they can actually recommend. And I want to test for toxicities, because in my 25 years of doing integrative medicine, I have found that toxins are maybe number one or number two in the cause of dis-ease. Now, I'm saying the word dis-ease very intentionally, because there is no disease in the world. There is dis-ease, the body not being in balance. And when the body's not in balance, we see symptoms that we have been taught to call disease, but in actuality, it is just an imbalance. It's the body going, dude, there's a warning sign. The dash light on the car dashboard is saying there's a problem under the hood and we need to find it. Sadly, we live in a society where we are told, give a symptom suppression treatment, and then look, the symptom's gone, everything must be better. But it's not. We haven't fixed the root cause of disease. In my integrated veterinary course, it was the same idea. Veterinarians need to make that paradigm shift, and starting with food. If we're going to continue to feed toxic food, we are not going to make headway. So we need to start with that first paradigm shift. I call it BS, which are belief systems. You probably thought of something differently, but BS is really belief systems. And a belief system is simply a thought we keep repeating. Part of your online courses that you are going to be creating is to help people make that paradigm shift from a belief system, a BS that they had, to one that is more serving. And we just saw a presentation from Noelle that was so powerful about how our BS could be helping us, or is it hurting us? Pick the one that's helping. Then after I created my Empowered Pet Parent course and the integrated veterinary medicine course for the veterinarian, then I was able to fill in the other gaps, the more in-depth things. So we do assisted lymphatic therapy, we do fascia decompression, and that fascia decompression course is for pet parents and for veterinarians and their clinical staff. So everybody learns what is the fascia and how we can support it. And then there's a whole bunch more that I didn't put on the slides, but just know that every time there is something that people need in order to be able to go to the next level, that is your opportunity to take your expertise and share it with the world. Now, it's really important when you're creating online courses that you have to define your psychographic community. What is the lifestyle that they're living? And is it the one that is supporting the outcome that they want? Look at the personality traits, the hobbies and values of your group, because you're not there for everybody. Not everybody is at the same awakening and conscious level. So we want to attract the people that resonate with us. We were looking for the people who are open and willing to do something different because they recognize that what they're doing isn't working. Then you want to look at your geographic areas. Where do people live? Are they in a city or in a country? What kind of culture do they have? We just saw in Romania where the country wasn't going to support them in helping to protect these animals, but the people stepped up to the plate. What kind of weather are they dealing with? I'm in Florida, so we have sunshine almost all the time with a few rain spatters here and there. And the economy, like Romania is a great example. What a beautiful talk to tee me up here was, because you have to understand where people are coming from financially. Are they able to do the things that you're asking them to do? Do they have the money to do it? Do they have the resources to do it? And then what is the demographic of the person you're talking to? When I first was asked that question, I went, oh, pet parents, every pet parent would be a good candidate for me. And then I realized, no, they're not. They have to have a certain amount of openness. They have to be a certain level of consciousness. They have to have some level of income. They have to be able to do some of the things, although I don't find income is the only deciding factor, because interestingly, people can actually find the resources when they really need to. And I find that, of course, we try to teach them preventative medicine. That's the ultimate, what can you do when you start out with your new puppy and kitten to keep them healthy? But many of the animals that I'm seeing are already ill because of lifestyle issues that they've had. And it's interesting that even though sometimes people will say to me, oh, I can't afford to feed a raw diet, when I show them what people spend when their animal is sick, because we're dealing with soul pets, and people don't just say, oh, well, he's sick, I'm just going to put him to sleep and get a new one. We don't do that. And so they spend so much more money trying to treat and reverse the disease, which thankfully we can do that very well in many cases. But if they had done preventative health care and invested into keeping the disease from happening, it would have been so much of a better outcome. And then we look at behavior, like how much time does it take for people to institute the things that we're asking them to do? And how much purchases, how easy is the animal going to be compliant to do the things we're asking them to do? So there's a lot of factors that you want to define within what you're doing with your pet population, which is going to be different than mine as a veterinarian. And I'm dealing in the health industry and, of course, on the medical side. I do want to talk a little bit about the benefits of launching your online courses. The most important thing is that you're completing your soul program in Earth School by stepping up to the plate and doing what you were called here to do. And you may not have just one sole purpose. So be open to the fact that there may be lots of things that you need to express in your world. I am a manifester, if anybody does human design. So I come up with idea after idea after idea. I mean, gosh, I've got probably 20 projects in the works right now, and they're all being launched and they're all being successful because that was my job as a manifestor, to come up with a lot of different things. You can spread your message. One-to-one is great, but you're going to be very limited. But when you go online on courses, now you're going one-to-many. And especially when you develop a community around your courses, now you're really impacting a tribe, and that tribe is going to impact the people that they know and their friends and family. And all of a sudden you go from a little ripple to a wave, and from a wave to a tsunami. And that's what we need in our world today. We need a tsunami to save our planet, to save our pets, and to save ourselves. And we can do that through our online programs where we reach one-to-many. Monetization. It's great to say that I would do all the things that I'm doing for free, and I would, but money is an energy. And in my perspective, I think that the more good that we do, that reflects on the energy that we're producing. So if money is an energy, the more good we do in the world, the more money that's going to flow, and the more money we can use to invest into other things that are going to also help the world be a better place. So if you have money issues, that's a different conversation. We need to have a conversation on how to clear your money blockages. But it's important, I think, to realize that online courses offer that passive income. I'm almost 70 years old, and I don't know if I'm going to practice until I'm 100. I hope I do. But I have all these other things that I want to do as well. And so I'm going to try to balance all that. And it's nice to know that the income from other passive streams help to fund the new projects that I want to do. So again, it's about using these streams of revenue to invest into more and more goodness. When you're doing online courses, you're putting yourself out there as the authority in that industry. And some people look at their niche and they go, oh my gosh, there's already so many people out there that are doing this. How and why would anybody want to listen to me? I'm just one more person. but you are you, and your sole purpose came here for the same reason. So don't look at yourself and compare yourself to others. You want to go out there and do your very best, building credibility, doing speaking, doing programs, social media, whatever it is that you're doing to build your social credibility. You are the authority in your division for your audience, and own it. And then engagement. You want to provide a lot of value for people. I heard a long time ago that you want to take your best content and put it out there for free. And that's the truth. You really do, because what people are looking for is not just the knowledge. There's a ton of knowledge out there, and so many people have analysis paralysis. There's so much knowledge that they can't even begin to know where to start, so they don't do anything. Our job as the authority, as the leader in whatever it is that you're going to be teaching, is to help hold their hand and help them to implement all that wonderful knowledge that you're providing. So I want to say that again because it's so important. Put your best content out there, give it away freely, and be there to support people in their journey so that you can help them implement so that they're successful and sustainable. And of course, we talked about engagement, helping to provide that platform for people to learn more, to engage more, and to have other people that they connect with. It's so much more fun when you're talking to your tribe, when you're involved in a community that hears you, that understands you, that supports you. Because sometimes we put ourselves in positions where there's a whole room of unconscious people and they look at you like you got three heads. That's just because you're not in your tribe. And it's okay. Bless them and move back to your tribe. So, what is your message that you have to deliver? Mine, of course, was on the medical side. It was all about how to prevent disease and then how to help pet parents understand their pet's biology, the bioregulatory side of medicine, and help them to get their pets better. But you need to decide what it is that your specialty is and what is the benefit that your audience is going to have. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you being the hero of the story. It's about your audience being the hero, that person out there who is that pet owner, that they are the ones that are here to be the hero and to help save their dog or their cat or whatever they're working on in their pets. And you are their guide to help get them there. So identify your expertise and your niche. Go through all of those exercises. Don't cut it short because it's super important for you to identify who it is you're going to attract, because as you energetically understand who your audience is, you are energetically connecting to them and they will see you and they will find you. All right, I think we covered all of that pretty good. You know, you are targeting your audience and what it is that you have that is going to help them solve their problem. Now, I don't know if I finished a little early. I think I did, but are we able to open this up to Q&A or not? I'll let the masters here. Okay, Dr. Lynda, thank you.
Hi. Yeah, I think that's great. There are some questions in the chat, so we can definitely, we've got some time. Let's use it for
Okay. So
Q&A.
before we open up to the questions, I told you guys I am a manifester, and this is a smattering of the businesses that I have. So right now we have, of course, Pasco Veterinary Medical Center is my operating clinical practice. We do consultations for people. So I do teach worldwide. I have an entire speaking industry program where I teach veterinarians and pet parents on stage, live presentations, and at conferences. I have my own raw food company, my own supplement company. I have an online store. We teach people all about technology as well. The Transforming Vet Medicine is all the programs that have all of the teaching online programs with them. We do a lot in essential oils and healthy products. We do personal body care and cleaning products for people so that they have better options and get the toxins out. Spas, family wellness centers. I'm so excited to share this with you. These are detox centers for pets and their parents. The first center is operating in my office, of course, but then we're going to move these into a franchise operation to where we can put them worldwide. So we hope to be open in next year, which would be 2025. And one last thing, if anybody would like a free download of my ebook, holistichealingvet.com, you can go there and get the ebook. So when you're doing your programs, guys, you also have to have a lead magnet. That is my lead magnet. It is a plethora of information for people to have so that they can begin the journey. They can get to know you. They can feel comfortable with you. And people do business with those that they like and they trust. So you want to be that for them. And last but not least, the hub for everything Dr. Marlene is at drmarlene.com, drmarlenesiegel.com. And therefore, let's go ahead and get into some questions.
All right, let me go through this for you.
I'm going to stop
I have
sharing.
to look. All right, so someone asks, Dr. Marlene, so you say to deliver the best content free. Are you recommending that our paid content is about how to implement the information easily and inexpensively? I am a natural rearing dog breeding expert and put out a lot of free content. How do I choose the subjects for the paid content?
It's a fabulous question. So you choose based on what your audience wants to consume. So you could do, if you have an email list already, you can start asking people what works. You can do split testing where you're sending emails out with 2 different contents and see which one does better for you. You don't give away everything, but you can pick the top 2 or 3 things that you know are the things that are really getting people's attention. So in my industry, of course, it's the C word. There's the cancer rates in animals right now are in dogs almost 100%. It's greater than 1 out of 1.65, and cats 1 out of 3. So that is one of the most important things that are on people's minds. Food is a second biggest thing. What do I feed? I understand what is out there is toxic, but what do I do and how do I do it? So those for me would be 2 big topics that I could put out there that I have a ton of content. But then once they trust you as an authority, once they know that you know your stuff, then they're going to want to learn more from you, and they'll take your courses to get the deeper information, the more expanded version. And most importantly is, how do I implement? Are you there for me when I start to have questions? Because I think Dr. Lynda and I were talking when you started doing training, we wrote the training and how to do online courses, and we spent all this money. My gosh, you spent a fortune. I spent well over $50,000 in a very short period of time, and I still couldn't launch my programs. So you need somebody who's going to be there for you to ask those little questions. When we are so much an expert into a field, sometimes we forget what it's like to be in the beginning stages. So you want to have a good mentor to help you, and our clients are asking us to be that mentor. Something as simple as a tiny little tweak can be all the difference for success versus frustration.
Yeah, that's so key. Okay, we've got another question. Let's see. How do we, as non-veterinarians, overcome the "but my vet said" resistance?
Yeah. Well, part of that would be, what is it that you are trying to overcome? Like, are you trying to teach about food? Are you trying to teach about healthcare? So part of the question is going to be, what is it that you're trying to overcome? But in general, what you want to do is have a plethora of information, studies, experts that you can refer to. One of the biggest things for a lot of my clients that they come to me with that problem, they go, but my vet has said this is terrible. I just had recently a technician who said, my veterinarian is so adamantly opposed to raw food. So we had to ask the question, so why? And all of the things that they were taught about food was wrong. It was all a BS, a bad belief system. And so as we were able to give them more information that helped them to be more educated, most veterinarians have a willingness to learn. They may not learn from you if you do not have a degree behind you, but put together an expert group that would be, and there's myself, there's the holistic veterinary organization, there's tons of resources, there's tons of other veterinarians like myself that are out there. We are the minority, but that's okay. We're working towards a tsunami, and we're having to overcome a lot of misbeliefs, a lot of BS that was old. And there was a reason for all of that, but now we're entering an entirely new paradigm shift. We're entering a world where we're taking knowledge and using it to our advantage. So the short answer to re-summarize what you just asked was, if your veterinarian is saying that they don't believe in what you're talking about, have enough resources and have a team of people behind you. I'll raise my hand and I'm willing to support, so that we can help them overcome. And I have a boatload of webinars that are free, that are out there for people to start listening to.
That's great advice. Yeah, and I think I just want to say one thing about energy with that question, right? I think sometimes because I know I feel it when another vet doesn't believe what I have to say about nutrition, even though I'm a vet, right? I still feel it. I feel like that you get defensive, right? And that defense is not going to increase your communication or improve your communication with that person who's saying that. So I would say on the energy level, just make sure that when they come to you with that you're not coming back at it. You're sitting with it and you're giving them the information they need in a compassionate way. And they're going to be much more willing to open their ears to that.
Oh, beautiful. We are in a world of cooperation. We have left the world of competition, even though it seems like we have a lot of competition. And the other thing I'm going to tag onto that one with Dr. Lynda is that you got to walk your talk, right? If you don't truly do what you're teaching, now I'm going to have to come back to myself because I don't know what the person asking the question does. But for me, I do eat totally organic. I do use all my own cleaning products. I do live that healthy lifestyle that I talk about. I live in a food forest. I make my own tinctures and teas, and I live all of that, and I stay in gratitude, and I focus on that, and so if you aren't vibrating at that level, that you are a 100% living your dream, walking your talk, then go internally and say, where do I need to up my own game? Because like Dr. Lynda said, you energetically are giving off who you are. And if you aren't really walking that talk, then people are going to sense that. I went to a veterinary dinner the other night, and out of the entire room, I was the only person that questioned what the food was that they were serving. And I had the chef make me a meal that had no canola oil, no soy, and no gluten. And all my colleagues already know when I go to a dinner meeting, I'm the only one that gets a special meal. I'm almost 70 with zero health challenges, and all my colleagues are much younger than me. I'm still the dinosaur out there practicing full time. I work 80 hours a week, plus all my other businesses. And they are all not feeling good, and they don't have energy, and they're burning out. It speaks for itself. That's all I can say. So walk your talk.
It's so key. And it's going to feel better for you, right? When you are walking that talk, because you're going to
Absolutely.
feel the real deal. All right, let's see. What is a recommended platform to use for online courses? Which platform do you use?
So I have a program called Go High Level, but there are a lot out there. What I would tell you is, as you're doing your research, look at the reviews, but also look at your long-term projection, because once you have stuff set up, oh my gosh, it is hard to change. So do you want to have a platform where there's engagement, where you can have a community, where you can email and have conversations with your community? Do you want to be able to have live courses? Do you want to be able to have all recorded content? Do you want to be able to scale? Right? Do you want to be able to engage with other communities? And what does the financial support look like? Can you have your packages sold through what are you using ClickFunnels, or, does it all talk to each other? How many plugins are you going to need? Or is a lot of that already built into your system? So there is a lot of education that goes behind. And I know I made several major mistakes, and now finally in a program where it really can meet my needs and to help me scale. So if you're planning, even if you don't think you're going to go big, I would suggest that you pretend that you just went viral and you are going to go worldwide with whatever your program is. And what is that going to look like? And look at other programs that have done that. That way, when you're looking at scaling, you're not starting little, but you're able to grow. There are some platforms that can't grow with you. And they may be user unfriendly. They may be unfriendly for you to use. So you want something that has good client engagement, really easy for them to engage. What was it? Google Classroom. Oh my gosh, I hated that. For me, it just didn't work. I had a hard time being the moderator. I had a hard time using it. That just wasn't a program that made me feel good. And ultimately, the program I was working with needed to scale, and it couldn't scale with them. So that would be my answer. Really do some diligent research, and don't let price be the only factor. Most of these programs have the ability to start at a lower entry point and then work their way up. The other part that is absolutely huge is the support that they give you. It seems like many companies now are all digital support. You have to send a ticket in, and there's not a person you can talk to. Go High Level is not friendly when it comes to being able to speak to somebody, and we have struggled with that. But once you have your paid subscription, then they're a little bit better. That is an important issue when you're starting out. If you don't have a team with you and you're going to be the one doing all of it, you really need to have support from that organization that you're working with.
Yeah, that's so important. I use Kajabi for my courses, and I do like them as well. So that's another option. All right, we have time for one last question, Dr. Marlene.
Okay.
Do you have a team that develops your courses and does your email marketing? I don't know how to do any of it. I'm a great one-on-one with clients, but I have zero knowledge on like social media posts and the development. So when you first started, did you have a team, or did you do this yourself when you started your online course?
I started with me, myself, and I. And then I did hire a company. It was over $10,000 that were supposed to launch my webinar, and they failed miserably. And I never really got anything out of it. You learn from everything. And it was just a painfully expensive mistake. And so, yeah, and that was like a do-it-yourself program, but they were supposed to help me do it and give me the foundation for the DIY. So yes, you can do it yourself. You have to determine how much time do you have, because I'll tell you something, even if you hire a team, so I hired this team to do the DIY, they failed miserably. I hired another team, they failed miserably. And I had to own part of that failure because I didn't know how to direct them. I didn't have enough knowledge on all of these elements to be able to determine, were they good or were they not good? And then I did another $25,000 mistake hiring an agency. And I learned a ton from that, albeit very expensive. I did not get $25,000 worth out of it. But what it ended up leading me to is, number one, starting to be more responsible for being the boss. If you're going to have a company and you're going to be doing things, you at least have to have a working knowledge of how each element works.
So important.
So you do have to learn it. You have to learn social media, at least entry level. And then you have to learn paid ads and marketing, and you have to learn how to put your courses together and what platforms you're going to use and how are you going to market and how are you going to do split testing. So these are all conversations that you need to start going on webinars and people that are doing it. And there's tons of people out there teaching it. Amy Porterhouse, was one person that I listened to a lot. So
Mhm.
subscribe to these different people who are out there. Dr. Lynda, she, like me, had to spend a lot of money and make a lot of mistakes. And we learn from our mistakes. I don't think there's any mistakes that are bad. I think they're just all learning opportunities and opportunities to show us the contrast in what we need to do better and differently. So that would be my answer is yes, make sure that you start out and understand it all. And then when you can afford it, then you hire somebody. So I now have a team of me and one lady who is absolutely my soul sister. And so she does now all the marketing and she runs the Go High level platform and she does all the social media posting. But we work every day. The first hour and a half to 2 hours of my day is with her doing a one-on-one, making sure that the content has my voice, has my flair, has my approval. And then she's out there actually doing the work and posting it. So recap, number one, get educated, get on the platforms of these people that are the gurus in their field and learn, get a mentor. Dr. Lynda would be a phenomenal mentor for anything online and webinars because that's what her expertise now is and her passion. And then when you're ready, start setting aside budgets to be able to hire one person on your team who could be that person who either runs your platform and or is running your social media.
Such amazing advice. Yeah, you have to learn it if you're going to be able to manage someone else to do it, right?
Yeah.
So true. Thank you so much, Dr. Marlene. And for everybody who asked how we're going to do it, at the end of today, I'm going to share with you an opportunity of how I can help you do it. So, but thank you, Dr. Marlene. I'm so happy that you're in my circle now, and you are so amazing. I want to be you when I grow up.
Thank you. We are a soul family and we're just reflections of each other. And I'm a star seed. I just found out I'm from Orion. How cool is that? So let your spiritual side open up because I don't think we can separate our mind, body, and spirit. Once we realize just how expansive we are and how powerful we are, and we step into that power, oh my goodness, you guys are just going to have the most amazing Earth School experience. Hopefully you already are, but if it is not at that level that you need to be, step into it and just do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us
Bye,
today.
everybody.